Welcome back to Talk of the Town on WHTC, Holland's Cool FM, on WHTC.com, and on the WHTC app for your smartphone. Once again, here's your host, Gary Stevens.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Thursday, August 27th. It is the fourth Thursday of the month, which means at this time we catch up with things going on in Ottawa County government. Latest from the Fillmore Street Complex. Ottawa County 1st District Commissioner Jim Barry on the other side of our table this morning. Jim, good morning. Welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you, Gary. It's great to be here.
And if you have a question for the commissioner, we'll be happy to take it at 616-395-1450. Before we go about some of the things that are going on in Ottawa County, this is a good time perhaps just to remind people exactly what areas of the county do you represent as the District 1 Commissioner?
As District 1, I have all of Park Township except for Precinct 4, which is just a little cutout along 144th Street. But the majority of Park Township and all of Port Sheldon and Olive Township. All
right. So pretty much the shoreline from Holland up to, to not to Grand Haven, but pretty close to that.
Port Sheldon.
Yeah. So it's
Campbell Plant. Yes.
And that has been a topic that we've discussed and may discuss again if you'd wish to join the conversation at 616-395-1450. When you say the little tip, you're talking about the little edge of Park Township on the other side of the lake?
No, just right along 144th Street between Lakewood and I believe it's Riley.
Okay.
To 152nd.
Okay, so it's a little bit further inland. I was just thinking that, the way that Park Township is laid out with the little lip right at the southern edge of Lake Mac.
Yeah, there's a little precinct down there.
Yeah, which makes it kind of tough for, they have to rely on Holland to take care of their first responders.
So they do have a Park Township fire station.
Down there,
yeah.
Well, they better. I mean, there's enough valuable property there that needs protection. Yes. But that's a little bit of our geography lesson. The Ottawa County Board held its monthly meeting this past Tuesday morning and held a statutory, if you want to call it that, public hearing on the budget, which is a little bit less this coming year for fiscal 2027 than it is for fiscal 2026. A little surprising, but then again, the reason, and I think you can explain it as to why it's a little bit less, makes it a good thing. I hope you can explain that.
Well, actually, numbers I'm looking at, there's a inflation adjustment of like about 3.5%. Mm-hmm. So there's no increase, of course, in the levied amount on the millage. Just the growth in the county and the appreciation of values has increased a little more money, but we're not taxing at a higher level.
And the reason why I was mentioning it's a little bit less is that I think the funding for community mental health has changed.
Yeah, that is will officially be a separate authority with the beginning of the new fiscal year. So, that is actually a reduction of our operating budget. A lot of employees that are part of that move as well. Got a brief update from Executive Director Michael Brashears at our meeting this past Tuesday. He's very happy and comfortable with the transition that's happening so far. We've got good cooperation from all the departments and within the county, from IT and fiscal services and everything. It looks like it's been a pretty smooth transition so far.
And the other thing, too, is, and it was something was explained not so much on Tuesday, but earlier this month, the fact that there is going to be a need to go into some fund reserves in order to balance the books. There was an explanation. And from what I understand, Jim, the explanation was it was it needed to be taken into account, and it's nothing that we really should be alarming.
No, this has been an ongoing story for community mental health organizations across the state.
I was talking about the overall budget. The thing, I think it was like $3.7 million in reserves in order to balance overall spending.
Right. Yeah, correct.
So I'm sorry if I didn't.
I'm still stuck in community mental health.
Yeah. But
no, there's a dip into the general fund.
Yeah, but that's it was expected. It's planned. It's not like the county's in big trouble.
No, not at all.
Not at all. All right, 616-395-1450. I don't want to forget about this aspect because by the time we have our next Ottawa County Board update on Talk of the Town, I think this event will already have been completed. Farms at the Tapas, because normally it's a fall event.
Right. That is coming up here pretty quick. That's actually Thursday, September 17 at the Red Shed in Hudsonville. It's the 10th year of supporting farmland preservation in Ottawa County. Very popular event. It's kind of a tapas dinner program, and small plates, as the tapas stuff is known as. And tickets are on sale for it at miottawa.org.
Yeah, indeed. Part of what this does is preserving farmland in the sense of keeping it away from developers.
Yeah. We've had a few of these recently where there was some grant money that was available that farmers were able to, in essence, sell their development rights to put the farmland into perpetuity as reserved as farmland. And that's in different polls that have been done, that scores pretty high as an objective for people in Ottawa County, that they want to maintain that agricultural nature and heritage of Ottawa County. I know that's in Park Township's master plan, is trying to preserve farmland.
And part of the thing being in your district, Park Township is a desirable place for developers because as this area continues to grow, the township is a prime area for people who want to build housing developments.
And it's interesting. One of the big agricultural products in Long Park Township is the blueberries. That requires sandy soil to be able to grow blueberries, and that's where it is in Park Township. So there's definitely a tension between demands for growth and desire to maintain agricultural land. We did a strategic plan process that we began in, not to get ahead of things here, but we started the strategic plan process in March of this year, and we approved it as a board last month. We're looking at three primary objectives with that strategic plan, and one is basically just to make some smart decisions about managed growth. Ottawa County is one of the fastest growing counties in the state, and that's a good thing, but you want to manage it so that we keep the things that we like and accommodate and work around the things that we're going to need that go along with that. The second objective is to make sure we have a reliable, permanent access and source of water across the county. We've got some issues with aquifers that are drying up, especially in the middle part of the county. That's a hamper to future development. We've got continued growth along the lakeshore, so put some thinking around that issue. And the third thing is to just make sure that we're kind of working along reputational aspects of Ottawa County, that this is a great place to live and work, and that the county government itself is a great place to work as well.
Let's get to the phone, 616-395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with Commissioner Jim Barry.
Hi, Jim. I had a question. I heard that there was a bill that was going to be introduced that would okay short-term rentals throughout the state, and that townships could still set up their own rules and regulations and so forth, but they were going to be okayed everywhere.
Sure.
Have you heard anything about that?
This kind of goes back to my realtor experience. For a couple of years now, I know the Michigan Realtors Association had advocated for a bill that would simply tell townships they can't ban it totally, that they needed to create some regulations around that, that each township could do whatever they wanted to do with it, but it just couldn't be a blanket, no short-term rentals allowed at all. Argument on that is argument for that is that private property rights and having the ability to do with your property as you would like, but obviously zoning comes into play here, and that's really is best controlled and organized around the township level. People should be able to control the nature of what their community is going to look like and what it should feel like. So that bill that I referenced earlier has never got through the House and Senate or been signed into legislation. I haven't heard much about that in quite a while now, to be honest with you. But as it stands, this is still the purview of the townships to decide what they want to do with that. And that's where I think it should be.
So you haven't heard about anything new then?
No.
This is just something that was in the past. Okay. All righty. Well,
sure.
That takes care of that.
Well, thanks for your call.
All right. Thank you very much for the call. 616-395-1450. One other can of worms I'll open up, dealing with farms at the Tapas and dealing with agricultural rights. And to a certain extent, I wish that maybe the people who are thinking about selling their land for the Silver Maple Solar Project might have had a chance to talk to the county about that, because that's 1,900 acres of farmland that might be going bye-bye.
That's a really troubling proposition there. Just the scale of that project is so large. Again, this kind of goes back to that the state did pass a law, Public Act 233, and was signed into law, where these large-scale energy producers or battery storage people or windmill companies that do windmill electric generation should start trying to work with the townships, and if they feel they need to, they can go directly to the Michigan Public Service Commission and bypass the townships in trying to cite these things. I'm completely against Public Act 233. There's a long tradition here, lots of precedents that local zoning should be controlled by the townships themselves. I think there was a real overreach by state government to do that. And this, as you said, 1,900 acres of productive farmland. We also had talk about a battery storage facility in Blendon Township, and I think people should realize that the reason why Ottawa County seems to be a target for this a little bit is if you have a battery storage or a solar field, you got to connect to the grid somehow, and all those high-tension power lines that are coming out of the Campbell plant and crisscrossing Ottawa County gives them an opportunity to tie into it. And so people are going to be looking at Ottawa County for that kind of development. And I think townships need to be able to retain control over what their community will be like.
All right. Speaking about having accurate information before rushing to judgment, dealing with solar farms, battery plants, and the like. A topic that wasn't on the agenda, but certainly, to a certain extent, overshadowed some of the stuff that the board was trying to do on Tuesday, was concerned about the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office using the flock camera surveillance system. Those who are opposed to it targeted West Olive to bring their voices heard. And it looks as if the board is going to at least take the matter up as part of a dedicated workshop within the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Again, I think the primary reason for this is, get some facts out on the table so people can understand this issue a little bit better. I first had a conversation about this. Excuse me. Somebody spotted something that looked like some kind of a camera setup at Port Sheldon in 96th, and there was a question, what was that or what's it doing? And this was early spring of this year. So this conversation has been going, and coincidentally, at the same time, this has now grown into a national conversation as these flock cameras are all across the country and have really grown a tremendous amount. And I've seen some comments on social media that some of the concerns people have. Now, let me start. Questions are great. I think people should ask questions if they have them, and there should be good answers for their questions. But I've seen some comments on social media that, from my understanding of it, are simply not true about flock cameras. And but we should have a conversation about this, and it should have been brought out on the front end of things rather than at the back end. Now when people are sort of reacting to it. I don't know. I'm looking forward to a work session, and I know Sheriff DeBoer is trying to distribute information about this and answer questions as well. And
interesting that news of an arrest on vandalism towards one of those units came out after the board meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah, and I would just say questions are great. If somebody thinks they can't get satisfaction by asking the questions, there's always the courts, but destruction of public property is not advised, would be my advice to anyone.
Yeah. Could now the flock cameras was put into place 2 years ago, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that might have been before your time with the board, where this matter was initially discussed.
Yeah, I sworn in January 25.
Okay, so this might be something indeed for those who are holdovers from the previous board, whether or not this was a topic that was brought up when this units was initially purchased.
Yeah, because frankly, when this came up, I didn't really know too much about how this started or where the funding came or how this all came together. But obviously, Ottawa County isn't the only law enforcement agency in the country that's using it. And just questions are fine, but some real true data points is about, what was that, 6 or 8 weeks ago, there was a shooting up in, I think it was Robinson Township, could have been Grand Haven Township, where 5 people were injured in a shooting. And suspects were arrested within less than an hour. And I know flock cameras are being credited for being able to identify the vehicle that was being driven, and that led to an arrest of a suspect on it. It is an effective tool for investigations, and has a place, but we need to have some questions answered.
Another part where, again, this was decided by a previous board, but the current board right now hopefully it'll be a quiet situation, and that is with the body cams and the dash cams that the sheriff's office has now put into place. So far, so good on this.
Yeah, I haven't heard any negative comments about that at all. I think it's generally perceived as a positive thing to produce a record of the interactions that law enforcement officers have with the public. This kind of goes into a bigger thing of what's the oversight or the regulation on Ring door cameras. When you go walking down the street, there's got to be, every other house has got a video of you walking past the house. If you pull into a shopping mall or major, I'm not going to name any names, but a super center, so to speak, believe me, there's security cameras in the parking lot. Go to a bank, you go to a dry cleaners, you go to a gas station, you're on camera. It's kind of the world we live in.
Oh, by the way, there's no camera. The only camera we have is focused on me, and that's we don't have a camera here in the studio. No studio cam.
But that's kind of the world we're in. And again, I I understand the logic of a police officer could be sitting by the side of the road and using a camera phone and taking pictures of license plates as cars go by, which is essentially what a flock camera is doing. It's not stopping anybody, not asking any questions. Where are you going? Who's with you? It's just detailing that this automobile passes by a certain spot. But it's obviously through technology, it's a more efficient way to do it, and it creates a source that can be used in an investigation. A couple of things that have come up. When I originally talked to Sheriff DeBoer about this, he said they had a 30-day hold on any videos, and then they were being erased unless there was an active investigation involved. According to statements I've seen from the company Flock, they're talking about making that more of a 7-day hold, reducing that even further. So nobody's creating a database of where your car has been or anything like that. It's just they've got who passed this intersection for 7 days, and then it's being erased as you go along.
And let me do one final thing, since I don't want this to go by. The voters said their piece on August the 4th, and both of the millage questions did pass in Ottawa County.
Pretty handily, too. And, of course, with parks, it's a case of they got the renewal. Now they're going to go for an increase in November. Right. They first came to the board wanting to do that as one thing. We suggested, and they've quickly agreed, that it might be a little bit easier to just handle renewals in the August primary. And then if for the increase that they're asking for, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but it's not a significant increase in the scope of things, but it's still an increase. This is because there's some projects that have been started that to finish them the way they would like to have them done, talking specifically about the Big Bend, which will be a major regional park in the Georgetown Township area. Huge tract of land that's up there. They want to put some trails in there and do some improvements for a swimming area, bathrooms and that kind of thing. There was also a big extension at Rosie Mound up in Grand Haven Township, right on Lake Michigan. It's doubled almost by 50% the size of the Rosie Mound natural area up there. And, you want to put some trails in and put some amenities in that to make that a little more user-friendly. But so the increase is to help them further develop some of the things that we already have. They've got a lot of real estate they're responsible for at this point, and there's a lot of maintenance that goes on with that too. If you need more information about what's going on in Ottawa County, best thing to do, go to the website, myottawa.org. That is myottawa.org. First District Commissioner Jim Barry, thank you very much for joining us today. Wish you and your family well. Look forward to chatting with you again before the end of the year, if not early next year. Thank you, sir. That sounds great, Gary. Thank you.
You've been listening to Talk of the Town on WHTC, Holland's Cool FM, on WHTC.com, and on the WHTC app for your smartphone.
We want to thank Ken Kolk of the Zeeland Historical Society and Ottawa County Commissioner Jim Barry for joining us today on Talk of the Town. Their segments have been or will be uploaded to our webpage at WHTC.com in the podcast tab under Talk of the Town. You can listen or download these segments for free at your convenience. Thanks to Brian Spencer, What's New Around Holland. Most importantly, thanks to all of you for listening and being a part of our program today. Tomorrow on WHTC's Talk of the Town, we should be joined by Ottawa County Sheriff Eric DeBoer and by Mark DeWitt of Evergreen Commons. Following Michael Kastner's NBC News, it will be Lindsay Lawrence's Evergreen Commons Report. For Brian Spencer, I'm Gary Stevens. Thanks for listening to Talk of the Town. Have yourselves a good day. Let's do this all again tomorrow.